Documents uncovered by MRC Free Speech America, as the Media Research Center, they have revealed that the Biden administration has funneled millions of taxpayer dollars to a program meant to fight terrorism. Right? Terrorism. But instead, they are now linking Christians and conservatives to neo-Nazis. The Targeted Violence and Terrorism Prevention Grant Program, which, by the way, has cost the taxpayers nearly $40 million, it approved a grant to Dayton University after reviewing a document that placed CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network, the Heritage Foundation, and other conservative organizations on what they refer to as a pyramid of far-right radicalization. Well, joining me now to discuss this and more is Brent Bozell. He's the founder and president of the Media Research Center. Brent, welcome to Washington Watch. Always great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, I kind of laid out a little bit there, but provide us, if you will, a little bit more context as to what you have found out so far.
Sure. Ian, during the Obama administration, there was a proposed new program to run out of DHS called the Targeted Violence and Terrorism Prevention Grant Program. This was designed to teach people on how to combat domestic terrorism and the steps that they could take, basically. There were Republicans and conservatives who were very skeptical about this because they feared that one day a Democratic administration would turn it against Republicans and conservatives. When Donald Trump became president, he killed the program. At the end of it, it came back. Now the Biden administration has it, and it is doing precisely what people feared it was going to do. We looked at there are 80 grants that have been given out by the Biden administration, totaling over $40 million. We did FOIAs on 31 to find out what the grant money had gone for. Now think about this, Jody. Number one, it's taxpayer dollars. And number two, if you're on the up and up, why do you refuse to turn over that documentation? And yet, every single one refused to turn over the documentation. Well, we have found ways around it. And we found ways around the University of Dayton and the grant that they got to look into what it was that they were doing. What we found was that the University of Dayton hosted a conference in December of 2021 on the topic, basically how to fight the radical right. And in it, they had a series of spokesmen. One who said that equated Ron DeSantis to the Holocaust, one who equated President Donald Trump to Pol Pot, the man responsible for the genocide in Cambodia. Then they had this, my favorite was this fellow, Michael Lodenthal. Michael Lodenthal was the person who put together this pyramid that we're talking about. On the first level of radicalization, you had such radical groups as the Heritage Foundation, which is perhaps the most prestigious conservative public policy group in America today. You had Fox News. You had the Christian Broadcasting Network. Let that one sink in. You had the entire Republican National Committee. So right off the bat, the DHS is sanctioning something where on the ground level, it's half of America. Go up a level from there. Now you've got more granular. Now you're looking at groups such as the NRA, PragerU, Tea Party Patriots, Turning Point USA, the ACU, Breitbart. All of those go into the second level. The third level, which is more spurious, is the pro-Nazi organizations, the radical right. And then the top one is the Nazi organizations. So this pyramid brings up, so you can see you start with Heritage and you end up with Nazis. So who is this Michael Lodenthal, who is a speaker at this conference? Michael Lodenthal is a member of Antifa. I can't make this stuff up. Michael Lodenthal is also a supporter of the Earth Liberation Front, ELF, which has been deemed by the FBI to be a domestic terrorist organization. And he's the spokesman he's one of the speakers on this thing. This man said, he also said at this conference, quote, he said that what they need to do is to infiltrate social media platforms, quote, to identify targets, create dossiers, surveil, interfere, misdirect, and disrupt. This is a fellow who went on to say, and I'm quoting here, a lot of things we are doing are illegal. It involves breaking the law. They took this conference, they wrapped it up, they put it in a bow, they mailed it with their proposal to DHS, and were awarded a grant for $359,000.
Unbelievable. You know, that sounds very similar to the list that the SPLC came out with, or at least there's a lot of similarities in all of this. Well, listen, we've only got a couple of minutes left, Brent. What do we make of all this? Who should be worried about this? Should everyday citizens? I mean, it sounds like Christians are now suspect.
It's the very thing you just said a minute ago. It's them doing this. It's the SPLC with their hate groups. It is President Biden saying the number one domestic problem in America is racism, going after whites. It is Biden calling all of MAGA supporters to being Nazis. This is scorched earth by the radical Marxist left to shut down any political opposition. This is something, Jody, that's done in communist nations. You never thought it would happen in the United States. It's happening right before our very eyes.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. Never would we have dreamed this type of stuff. And I think the Biden administration is probably trying to run and do a little damage control, distancing itself from all of this. But the fact is they did approve the grants here. Isn't that correct? I mean, they do have a hand in the cookie jar here.
No, this is just one. This is just one. We have another one coming out next week. It's going to be even more radical. This is just one of them. But look, Jody, this is taxpayer funds. How in the world, as with everything else, do they dare not turn over the information when it's requested?
Absolutely.
Not one of these grants have they come through.
Unbelievable. Brent Bozell, thank you so much for joining us on Washington Watch. Always fascinating to speak with you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks so much.